we'll have to get him on board. And put the table to hold it.
Right.
Go ahead and call the Hillsboro City Commission to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This one's working.
If we have problems as we go, we should address them because there weren't some people very happy about it. Were you listening to it? Or was it pretty?
At home, there was so much of it that I couldn't hear.
Yeah. So I think we gotta try and get back on keeping an eye on that. Doesn't sound too staticky.
Let's hopefully it stays that way.
Hope it stays that way. Yours is off. But that's the only way we can isolate it is by shutting everybody off when they're not talking.
Isn't the volume on?
I don't know. I can kind of hear it. You can't hear it. It can be turned up. Or I can kind of hear it a little bit. But
That's right. It's too high and it's feeling.
could be. Is Sarah watching? She'll get a hold of you if there's a problem. Sure. Sometimes my wife watches, sometimes she doesn't, so. Yeah. Paul talking? Want somebody to keep talking, you said? Oh, I thought you wanted me to quit talking. I don't hear anything from you. Is it on?
Looks like I have a dead battery again, which I usually do.
Test.
Good Lord.
Who goes there?
Is anybody?
How many fingers am I holding up?
Just one, Paul.
That's how many she's holding up.
I hear y'all.
I hear y'all. I hear y'all. She went a long ways away for Christmas, didn't you? Your battery is, you got another battery for her? Look at the sacrifices everybody's willing to make. Is there an actual reading on here for batteries? Battery strength, is there anything on here or not? Just when they're dead, right?
It just shuts off.
Well, it's not me. Mine's off.
Okay, go ahead and get started with the minutes from the last meeting and then the special commission meeting on the 28th.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Mike to approve the,
I'm just waiting, I just want to make sure you ask for anything, because I just want to make sure we put the amount for what we transferred out of the emergency fund, the dollar amount, if they can put that in the minutes.
I had her fix that. 'Cause
Okay.
I caught that, and so
Okay.
it is in the official. It is in the official
Okay.
ones. I had
Okay.
her change that this morning. So I
Thank you.
caught that. Yep.
That was my only,
okay?
sorry for the interruption.
No. And then we should probably add in the Christmas gift what the actual amount was.
I know at the time they didn't know. So.
Do you know how much it was?
I think it's, I asked Julie too, I don't remember off the top of my head, is it 25 or 75?
Okay.
Wasn't there a check? I thought I saw a check someplace.
Well, it's 250 divided by, so it's probably 25. All right, next item is the presentation of the bills. Oh, sorry. Is there any other changes to the agendas? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next is the presentation of the bills. The only thing that I've seen is the 69,906 to Breidenbach Excavating. That should have came out with water, not the Municipal Infrastructure Fund.
She asked me about that too, and I told her it's out of water.
So just make sure that that gets changed. Is there any other questions for the bills? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved by Paul, seconded by Nicole. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Commission reports. Nicole, we'll start with you.
I have nothing to report.
Dave?
Yes, I have. This is regarding the bridge in Woodland Park. Did you guys see my email that I sent to you
Yep.
regarding that? The Trail County Commission has chosen to team up with us in regards to applying for a grant for the bridge. And there's two different categories. There's or two different funds, I should say, and if we are granted the grant, there's 100%, which would cover the complete cost of the bridge, and the second fund, we would be responsible for 10% of the cost. Now, I don't know when that, the first thing that's going to be done is, let me get my thoughts here. Been looking at this information so much today that KLJ, if we get approved for the grant, KLJ Engineering will go in and they will do a survey of the bridge and figure out what it's going to cost to replace it. And then that will be turned in to the North Dakota DOT.
They don't need a cost ahead of time?
No, because there's no cap on the funding. So it's whatever, if it's, whatever it costs. But, so we could get it paid 100%, or it could cost us 10%. And what I need tonight is from the commission is we need to make a decision and a motion if we're going to join Trail County in applying for the grant.
Any questions for Dave on that? Anybody have a motion then for that?
I'll make a motion to move ahead with that.
Mike makes the motion for approval to move ahead with the two grants and to work with a partnership with Trail County. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Paul. Is there any other discussion?
Is there a timeline on that at all? Or
As far as,
when this all?
it has to be in by the 18th of this
Okay,
month.
and then when do they know if it's?
That's,
Then-
we might not find anything out until 24,
Okay,
possibly 25. Could be sooner than that, but that's just what the information they're giving to me. And the county and the engineering firm, they will take care of all the paperwork. I think there's some paperwork that the city is going to have to sign, but he will be getting back to me. JR, is there anything that you know that we need to be doing?
Rick, do you have a question?
Yeah, I couldn't hardly hear you, Dave, but is that going to cover the grants you're talking about? You said cover the bridge. Is that removing, replacing the bridge? What about engineering fees? Does that all fall under that grant?
I can't answer.
What's the grant involved with
I'm
before
sure-
everybody votes on it?
Well, I'm sure it will. I can't definitely answer that, to the best of my knowledge, but I can find out and we can let you know, but.
No, I'm just curious, like, if the engineering
Oh, yeah,
fee,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it seems like every time you turn around, that engineering fee is going up,
Yeah.
And if it's removing, replacing, or what are you guys voting on? I'm just curious.
We don't know yet, do we?
Well,
well, we're just voting to.
we're voting for the grant right now. That's what-
To apply for the grant.
I realize it's a grant, but I'm asking if he knew what the grant consists of.
Well, the grant is for
You said the bridge.
removal of the bridge, and removal and replace is what the
Okay.
grant would be. We could apply for a grant to renovate it, but the engineer said you could do that, but then you're just bandaging up
That's a 30-some year.
1934.
34 bridge, yeah.
So,
I'm just curious as to, what it consists of, that grant.
yeah. And like I put in the email to these guys too, I said, even if we're stuck with 10%, but down the road, if we have to replace that bridge at the whole cost, even 10% would be a heck of a good deal for the city. It's just, you got to say we're finding the funds for that, but
I'm
we,
just curious.
yep, nope. If you have any more questions on it, just,
Yeah, I'm just
You know.
curious what it consists of.
yeah. But I can find out, I can actually get an itemized of what the whole grant pays for.
Yeah.
So,
Well, definitely, I think that bridge has outlived its usefulness.
and I've got I'll pass this around. This is the current inspection report. It's in tough shape underneath. It's also, it's not ADA compliant. So if we put a new bridge, it's going to have different walkways, and so.
Would they raise it up properly?
Assuming they would, yeah.
Huh?
I would assume they would.
Raise it up?
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you get a chance to follow up on the snow removal?
Showing different people that have inspected it.
And it looks like we went down at least 2 in the last few years, so. 98, we must have fixed it again, and then in 2008, it started dropping down again. Then 18, somebody must have just judged it wrong. 'Cause it went down and then went back up.
Maybe from a different spot.
And the only other thing I have is, I don't know if
Yeah, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other discussion on the bridge? Paul?
Yes?
Mike?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And a yes for me. All right, what else do you have, Dave?
I guess the county declared a snow emergency today. I don't know if we fall into any of that category or not, as far as recouping any overtime or fuel costs or anything like
We'd
that.
have to get, well, we did declare it at the last meeting, and then we moved those funds from the emergency fund over, so it would have to be if the governor or FEMA would declare something, then we could come back and get some.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we followed suit with the county or what.
We did that at the last meeting. So.
Okay. That's all I have then.
Thanks, Dave. Mike?
Nothing tonight.
Paul?
Nothing on the beautification. I don't know, you might have something. Levi, I think you had some stuff caught up. On HEDC, they weren't able to get a quorum for the meeting, so we didn't have a meeting last month. I failed to say that they did, Gary Neesman has been the president or the chair for the HEDC for a while. He served his time and he's off now, and the new chair is Terry Sandel on the HEDC. So they'll have their first meeting in January, hopefully weather permitting. On the electrical side, I don't know if Jim, do you know on load controls, how that's going and where we're at? The reason I'm asking is, do we need to do a little PR? Do we need to get out and push this, remind people to get this stuff in?
I ran into him the other day. He said it's getting better, that it's steady with calls and scheduling. Did he have an exact count? He didn't. I'm going to say between 200 and 300 out of 700 we have to install. So he's picking away. He's, between the holidays and the weather, I suppose he hasn't got a lot done in his last few weeks. But
If you just let us know if it does if he says it's kind of slowing down,
Okay.
that we maybe need to push something out on, on social media or something to
Yep.
remind people to do that, so. And, thank you. And then, we'll have a meeting with Missouri River in January here, just before the next meeting on the maintenance and things like that, what we can do as far as a cooperative effort between the communities. That's on January 17th, so Jim has been very proactive in finding different ways that we can kind of take care of our maintenance issues and emergency issues all together. So he's got more than one option to deal with, so thanks, Jim, for doing that. I know when it's 20 blowout, it's pretty important to make sure we got enough people to get the electricity back on if we have a problem, so thanks for doing that. But we'll be researching one more issue, one more thing on the maintenance side with Missouri River at that time. And there's nothing that's set in stone yet. We're just reviewing our options on what we can do moving forward in the future. That's all I have.
Okay. I don't have anything different than what will be on the agenda. Jim, do you have anything tonight?
we're just going through the typical winter stuff. We're cleaning more spots, snow removal, working on equipment, trying to get some things done in the shop to organize and get our room organized a little better so we can store stuff. And I was contacted by the sheriff's department last week. They did take care of moving two vehicles, one they towed and the other one they talked to the homeowner and got that moved. So it's moving forward with that, so hopefully that'll work good.
How are we coming on inventory? Is that still moving along steady with snow?
Snow is precedence here. We've been doing, they got hit. Yeah.
Well,
It's still on the agenda, so
Good.
we'll get to it when we can.
How did the two do at the water test? Or they haven't heard back yet?
I tried to get a hold of somebody today and they haven't. I'm guessing with the holiday, they took it Tuesday before Christmas, and I'm assuming with the two holidays in there, and as far as I know, they haven't been corrected yet. I'm going to contact them again tomorrow and find out, so.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Jim. JR? Ashley?
For the inventory, we did get something back from Steve Halfley. At the end of the day, I didn't get a chance to look at it yet for the fire department, so we do have a list of that stuff, but there was no prices, so I'll talk to Lee about that. Excuse me. The armory contract, I was made aware of earlier today that that is set to be renewed on 1/31 of this year, so I'm not sure how you guys proceeded last time with that, but that they're currently paying $12,000 a year, so that's something that needs to be looked at this month yet before the end of the month. And otherwise, I have nothing else.
We need to kind of appoint somebody to do that, or?
I was going to spearhead that and hopefully
Okay.
look and see what we can do, work
Mhm.
out with Mayville State. Nothing on the sheriff's or city engineer tonight. Next item is the BC beautification tickets. So on the 21st, I went to the Trail County District Court, and we did agree, and it was finalized there that ticket number, the 2021002, just making sure I have the right one. Excuse me, 2021-001 was referred to them, but they have cleaned it up and taken care of it, so we did move to dismiss those charges.
Is that the log cabin over by the armory?
No, that would be the one
To the north?
to the north.
Oh, okay.
The log cabin would be the next property, which that one has been cleaned up and it's up for sale.
I think it might be sold. I got a call on it today, so
So that one,
so that would be good.
yes. So that one should be good.
Is it-
We shouldn't need it on there anymore. We kind of held off on these, but on 2021-003, that would be the one to the east of the log cabin. And that one we held off on. And if you're in favor of that, it doesn't need to go to the sheriff, and I think they've cleaned it up quite a bit. Whether or not you want to keep it open just to make sure, or if you would like to close it.
I haven't looked at it real closely lately.
I mean, there's a few items,
It's kind of
but,
hard to tell now with all the
Right.
snow and stuff.
Mhm.
so would you prefer just to leave it open and we'll check on
Yeah,
it?
I think that would be fine.
Okay. 2021-003. So we'll just keep that open. Ticket number 2021-004. The person did not show up to district court. There was two charges against the homeowner of that property, and they have a warrant with an $800 bond for them right now. And then once that is worked through, we'll see how that goes. 2021-005, we started on the condemnation process, so I'm sure JR has started that, and it does take some time for that. 2021-007, that has been sold, and we did close that one. 203 4th Street Southwest. We had referred that to the Sheriff's Department. We hadn't moved forward on that one. Do we want to hold off until the snow goes down a little again, and then we'll start that process again. G 2022-001. And then 2022-002, that property is up for sale. And it's not Kumar, it's a different individual that does own that. But that was the one that Mike has been working with, so I think we just keep that one open and see how that proceeds. 2022-003, we had held off on that one because that individual was gone. I believe you guys did see a letter on it back in October. No changes have made, but if you would like to proceed, that would be one that we reached out to her. She sent a letter back, didn't come to see us. We made that apparent if you want to move it on to the sheriff's department once spring comes.
I think I'm okay with moving off on it until spring and see what happens.
Okay. And then the last one is 218 4th Street Northeast. That's a sister property or mother property, whatever you want to call it, to the other one that we did close from last year. And that one was referred to the sheriff's department. Again, we held off to see how this court proceeding went on. We'll see how things show up in the spring, if you're okay with that. And then we should have more after. We should be having a beautification meeting here next week on Monday. Any questions on those? Okay.
It's a little quieter this time of year.
There's no update on the FEMA disaster for the old business. Next item would be the budget, which I did send out to all of you on Friday or Thursday.
Don't remember which fund it was, Levi, but you have to change you left it as 206, it should have been 211, you had two in the same fund.
Okay. They open it up. And you can-
On the top, not on the tab part, but like on the.
Oh, up in the top of it.
The tab was right, which.
They did have to move some funds around just to make everything work, so there was a few things that I had taken out. Based on what Dave had sent us for his proposal. And so to make that work, I took out a couple other items to make it work. You said 211?
Yes. I changed it, but I wasn't sure if it changed.
Yep, it changes.
I didn't know how much.
So if you look at the general fund worksheet, there was a few items that the sales tax, Riverbend, a few of those got changed. I didn't have to take anything out of electrical to make it work. And that is with that is with 6% for everybody. And with Dave's proposal of changing commission president to 66 and the rest of the commissioners to 4,800 with no insurance.
Leave me hands
I
off.
need the mic off.
Is there any other questions on that, or how would you like to move forward? And that did change the emergency fund, because that was going to be moved out.
And remove that.
So would you like to move forward with this budget proposal, or how would we like to proceed?
Did you get a good deep look at it, Nicole? Did you get a chance to? Okay, I didn't get a chance to, again, the things I wanted to, but if everybody else looked at it. One question I do have is on the HADC side. You know, when you split, when that funds come back, are they gonna come out of debt retirement and sales tax? Where do they put the money, do you know?
So we get one lump sum comes into the general fund and then we
Yep.
split it by a
Right.
sheet that we have for the, and we have it split out in percentages.
Right. So what I'm saying is when you didn't have it right the first few months, so they'll have to split some out of both of them, transfer out of both of those? 'Cause I'm assuming that they put a certain amount into debt retirement and sales tax, right?
Yeah, but it all comes in the general fund first,
Mhm.
and then it gets split out that way.
Right. But what I'm saying is you've already sent it to sales tax, correct?
What I had took it out of was the 212 sales tax, the 35,360.
Okay.
Just took it all out of sales
Okay.
tax.
Okay.
How would you guys like to move forward?
Are we waiting on the approval of this amendment to move forward with moving some of these funds into the other ones?
That would be the
The
start of the
general
whole
census?
process, yep. And also approval of what line items, so that Public Works knows what they have in each line item to work with.
So you want to know if we want to vote on this now? or
If you want to vote on this now, or, yep, or what your thoughts are, and how you want to proceed. Nicole?
I'm pretty comfortable.
Okay. Dave?
What I see, yes.
And that doesn't mean that we can't change things as we go. Mike?
Yeah, I'm good.
Paul?
Yeah. Yeah, I could look at it forever, so. Of course, if I was-
You could take 4 months to look at it.
I don't need that long to look at it, but it's all gonna come out in the end, so.
Right. it
We just
will.
we just have to get started on transferring and getting some stuff where it's supposed to be. And that's kind of the first step, is getting the money where it's supposed to be and getting funds back to where they're supposed to be.
So then I would just entertain a motion to approve the amended budget and the transfers. Chuck, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, first of all, I only hear parts and pieces. What are you voting for now, or going to try to get established?
It would be to the budget that you guys had seen at the special commission meeting. We'll be approving that budget that's been amended to what we had previously. We'd be going with the new budget.
All the things we went through the other day,
Absolutely, but what about all the things that they haven't gone through yet that she's got to catch up on? Where does that enter into the picture?
That doesn't on this part of it. That will still get fixed. This is just saying how we're going to move forward with our estimated funds for this coming year based on what we're doing. It would also means that we're looking at allocating the 6% for the employee raises like we had before. We would need a separate resolution in order to do it, but the same thing with the rates. If we were going to increase those, that would have to be separate from the budget resolution. And I believe the same thing with the commission salaries would have to be a resolution also separate from that. It's just that we're approving that this budget would move forward.
Okay, well, at least I can hear you now, so, thank you. 'Cause
Yep.
It's frustrating to only hear you and maybe one other person up there.
I think some of our mics were shut off because
That
of
could very well
the
be.
scratching.
I hate to interrupt, but
Nope, we want everybody, if you didn't hear it, that means that the public didn't hear, so, that are watching online, so.
I'll make a motion to move forward with the amended budget for 2023 and that 6% raise.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved by Nicole, seconded by Dave. Is there any other discussion on? If not, proceed to vote. Mike?
Yes.
Paul? Yes. Dave?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Any yes for me? Motion carries. Thank you. So with that, are we sticking with the 6% for our employees? If so,
I believe we should.
Okay, do I have a second, a motion?
I'll move to second that.
Or moved?
I'll make the motion.
Dave moves, Mike seconds, for to have a 6% raise for the employees. Is there any other discussion? Dave?
Yes.
Paul?
yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. Would we like to look at the rate increases, or do we want to hold off on that? Which was proposed would be to raise
On the electricals, guys, I wanna hold off. I still have a few questions that I have on that, so,
Okay.
not to say you can't move on other ones, but.
The other one that we had proposed changing would be the sewer rates, and that would be changing from $1 or 1 cent per 100 cubic foot after 900 to 50 cents per 100 cubic foot. Not after 900, just 50 cents per 100 cubic foot.
And what was it from, you said?
From 1 cent
Per one?
per 100 cubic feet over 900 cubic feet. So if you used most, I would say on a family of four is going to be in that 8 to 1,200 cubic feet per month. So you would see a $4 to $6 increase on the sewer. Yes, if you go to,
Down at the bottom, zoom in, bottom right of your, there you go.
Go to view. Go to view.
Oh.
Should be full screen. Well, that's how you zoom in, but it should be. The browser itself.
we can also hold off too, it doesn't matter.
On the electrical side, I know I want to hold off because I want to know exactly where we're at on that. And I think we need to visit with Missouri.
Paul, what did you say?
On the electrical side, I want to hold off on any increase right now until we spend more time visiting with Missouri River on it. So, we did have a meeting scheduled and it got postponed due to whatever reason, so.
We don't want to hold off too long on any of them. Like I said, we are, especially on the electrical, we are not, if you're on off-peak, we're making,
Yeah. Well, there's certain areas there's no questions, but there's other questions, I think.
Right. So-
And I could be wrong, Jim, but I think there is, so.
we just got to keep on this. We
Yep.
can't be putting months and months more work into it. Yes, Rick?
I thought you were going to raise up the garbage and electrical last time to keep you in line with septic, so you could do improvements. Why would you hold off?
Well, on the garbage side, we didn't have to. There was enough that once you dived into it, I don't know where it came off, but if you look at what we're taking in and what we are spending or should be spending, should be pretty close. Now, that all depends on fuel rates, so, but we also, I believe the contract is coming up, so we'll look at that again a little bit more. Electrical, yes, based on what we had, we're looking at things that are off, but I'm fine holding off for a little while, but just know that we need to do this within the next month or two to keep this budget in line.
What's going to change with electrical? We don't know one thing, it's not going to be cheaper.
Right, but I think it's more of what rate do we go to? It's not about what, I understand where Paul's at.
It's going to go up, but just how much?
How much? Are we going to go to 9 cents, or are we going to go to 8.5, 8.7? That's what we need to look at.
Didn't you have a figure on that, Levi?
I did, but that was, there again, I didn't have everything. I didn't have 12 months of data to go off of. I was only going off of 7 months of electrical usage, so I didn't have a true number on it. So that one I feel, we could spend more time on to figure it out so that we have a truer number. The sewer, no matter what we go up to, I mean, in reality, sewers doesn't make us money, so it's just a matter of moving to help subsidize some of it. And this would be, I would say, for the month of January, so you'd see it on the February bill for the sewer. And then hopefully doing this in stagnant, people will see a slow increase, I think would also be helpful, instead of one big lump sum change. If so, do you guys like to make a motion to move the sewer rates, or?
I think we can move ahead with sewer rates.
Okay, is that a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second if you need it.
Dave makes a second to move the sewer rates from, on the per cubic rates, from 1 cent per 100 cubic foot after 900 to 50 cents per 100 cubic foot with no, starting at 0, so. Is there any other discussion on that? Dave?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Dave, or Paul?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. Next item of business is the employee handbook review. On the employee evaluation, I think that's where we had the concerns. My suggestions to move forward with this is to take out the ratings and put on, under the comments, the improvements or goals, and then on the other side you would have good qualities or attributes. And the other thing that I would like to see us do is where it says that the personnel commissioner and another commissioner, as far as supervisors, that would be supervisors will be evaluated by each commissioner and approved by the commission as a whole. Meaning each of you would need to turn in an employee evaluation, and then they would be put together for everybody to be signed off on.
What page are you on?
16, 17, and 18.
So you want to repeat, you're going to take away the rating, you're going to take away, and you're going to do what?
Correct. Just take away the rating,
Okay,
and under comments, you would have either improvements or goals that need to happen, and then attributes or good qualities that you are seeing.
would you like to put that on there, then,
Yes.
to the comments, and then would be
Just change comments to,
attributes and, goals.
yep.
Anything else, Nicole? You said you've kind of gone through a lot of those that you've seen in the past that would be important things to have, since you've done 100 of them in your life.
And then, Paul, the other thing on the, where it says supervisor, where it'll be evaluated by the commission. So each individual commissioners would evaluate. I would like to get this done so that then we can, you guys can take this and do it before the next commission meeting, because this would determine the supervisor's raises for next year.
For the comments to attributes or goals, who would complete that portion then?
You,
Okay.
each individual commissioner.
Is there somewhere where the employee can put in their own comments or anything?
It's not necessarily, I mean, they could put in a written one, but it's not necessarily in there, no.
Okay.
And it's not, the final one would be put together and discussed as a whole as a commission. That's how most school boards do it, is that each commissioner, or each school board member evaluates superintendents generally at large, and then it is all voted on at the end.
With no rating?
No, there's a rating at the,
There is a rating on those?
or they go, no, well, I don't know if there's a rating. I think it just depends.
Okay.
Levi, I got a question,
Yes, Rick.
and it's jumping around here, but we're all looking for the same thing, good reports on everybody and everybody. But say we have a problem where somebody's got to get addressed, somebody's got to get sat down and said, no longer do you do that. Is it still able to put something in their file, or after the last meeting and we had to rescind one, which I don't understand at all. If somebody puts something in a file, it should be in a file. Or don't we have any way of bringing justice around?
No, I believe that you still be able to do that. The only thing that changed was from a written reprimand to a verbal reprimand.
There is another section in the policy, 902, page 29 and 30, that deals with reprimands and discipline. Talks about
I'm
verbal.
aware of it, so that's why I'm asking.
So it is covered in here under verbal reprimands. It does say what they do written, and it goes even into suspension and dismissal and everything. It's all included in here.
Because we really don't do a person any good on the commission and give somebody a reprimand, and then the next day it gets rescinded. And that's behind us, we voted on, and that can die as it can. But there is time and place, and if you don't believe me, just go up to Crystal Sugar. They have no problem laying off a $100,000 worker if he doesn't do what he's supposed to be doing.
And I truly believe that if, it shouldn't be just the personnel commissioner that would write a reprimand. If any other commissioner, being that they're dealing with them on a day-to-day basis, on different issues, they should be able to write the reprimands as they see fit also. It's just a matter of working it through everybody,
I know,
so that everybody is aware of it.
just to clarify it, how do you want to do a verbal? Because you had talked about some paperwork saying that you were given a verbal.
No, I've never been.
No, but what I'm saying is if you were giving, if we gave somebody
Right.
one,
I
you had
would
some.
say if you, maybe to track it, you either track it on a spreadsheet or you write up a paper that says verbal, and then each party signs it so
Right,
they
right.
know that, yes, this was your verbal warning.
Mhm,
That way it's documented somehow. That's all I was saying.
right.
And I think it should be,
But, Paul, you check around, most verbal ones are given at the meeting. So you've already got a verbal warning, you don't do anything wrong. It's, you write people up after that.
So they don't do verbal, just if you have a problem with somebody, you go give them.
verbal is also sometimes noted, sometimes it isn't, it all depends. I mean, if you look at it, it says a verbal is just less severe and are intended to influence to improve performance. Where written is more serious, this is for unacceptable or if the verbal was unsuccessful.
Because I view a verbal as something that could be given at any time, whether it's at a meeting or whatever, just so that they're made aware of it, so it's documented that they're made aware of it, that this is a verbal.
Right, but as we discussed at the last meeting, apparently, we need to have something in the file, because not always times are the verbal reprimands.
Well, it says right in there, verbal reprimands should be documented in the employee's personnel file.
Right.
So that's where it goes back to, we need to have a form of some sort saying, so that, because...
I don't even think we need a form. I think all you need to do is just send a email saying that this, Ashley has been notified of verbal reprimand for X cause by Paul, and this is to be placed in the personnel file.
And I just want to clarify how we're going to do that, how we're going to document it. Whether it's that way, whether it's an email, whether it's
an email, or you take it in and you ask for the staff to put it in there. I don't think we need any official form or anything, it's kept in that file. Whether you send an email asking Ashley or the office staff to put it in there, or whether it's still getting put in, that's the key. If we make this too complicated, I think it will get done.
I just want to know, so that if we have an issue someplace down the road with somebody else,
Yep.
that it's kind of been hashed over in the past, and we don't want to go over it again in the next, and then are there on this manual or the handbook, there's supposed to be copies of that in their file, that they've reviewed that and signed off on it? Is there copies of that in their file, everybody's file? So everybody has signed off if they've read these?
Signed and dated at the bottom?
There's a sheet on the back.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, are they done?
I know that mine, Sarah's, Julie's, I'll have to check on
Yeah.
The public works.
And when it's in the handbook, we should make sure that it is getting done.
And it should be every time that we update the policy, it needs to be done. So if we update this tonight, everybody should be given a copy of it and signed and put back in
And
the...
highlighted anything that's changed, so that they know. And that's one thing. And then I'm not sure which page it is, mileage. You have a mileage date in there as of the 18th. Is there a way we can do that so that it just kind of follows a general, maybe what the state does or the county does?
I thought we had the state in there. I thought we changed that
Yeah, but
last
you had a
time.
date in there as of a certain date. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but it's kind
Which page are you on, Paul?
of confusing.
It should be.
I wrote on mine, it
should be
was
the state rate.
37, but
If it isn't.
That's what I thought it was supposed to be. 37, you said?
well, depends on what, because I'm just finding out that the ones that I was looking at on the computer were different than what you have here, so I'm not exactly sure where it's at.
26,
What's it?
page 26.
26, okay. Yeah, and that's actually what I had written here is 26, so that's right, but I know there was one that was different, so I didn't dare say it, so.
Oh, yeah. Can you change it to current state rate and not have the date in there? Because, yeah, that rate is way off.
Right, and that's the only I had a question on, is do we need that date in there? Or do we just, because
Or just
otherwise you could
label
be
it
changing it every
current
time you
state
look
rate,
at it,
yeah.
so.
I thought you put that in there.
I thought I changed
I thought
it,
you
but,
changed that to state that current rate
yeah.
as opposed to the...
I must have missed it. I'm sorry. Because I thought you guys had agreed on that.
Remember that.
Yeah, I thought you guys had agreed on that last time, so that change just got missed, so I'll make sure it gets
The
changed.
date it's taken out.
Right.
Well, I think what it should say is employees mileage at the current state rate for in-state travel and full federal mileage rate for out-of-state travel.
Yes.
Same thing with meals. In-state would be under the North Dakota state rate, and out-of-state would be follow the federal guidelines. Same thing with lodging.
Do you
Just
even
noticed
need
that
a
one
date
too.
in there?
You wouldn't even need a
Wouldn't
date
need
in
a
there.
date.
Nope.
And that was the point, is that we need to get the date out of there, so.
So you could even condense it down and say mileage, meals, and lodging shall be set.
Allowance, yeah.
The allowance should be used by State rate for in-state travel and out-of-state rates are based off the federal rate. And then instead of doing this every year, on page 23, under holidays, we should probably have New Year's Eve close at noon and Christmas Eve close at noon. 23. So that way it can get published if it's gotten missed. Because usually Cole's born on top of it, getting us a reminder when it's supposed to be in the paper.
Put Juneteenth where it's supposed to be too. As long as you're doing that.
And then it says in the policy, if it falls on a Saturday, we proceeding Friday, and if it falls on a Sunday, we recognize it on Monday. So then there shouldn't be any questions as we move forward. Correct. Any other changes?
Yeah, I'm going to beat a dead horse on this reporting of fraud and things like that. I know that a lot of it gets reported to the auditor, but I know last time we talked about this, I talked about that there's really nothing specifically in there for the auditors committing fraud, and also even if there's fraud being committed by commissioners, there's really nothing in there to really.
What page?
Well, I guess I find it under 37 is the closest I can find it. But
Should we then say, contact the city auditor, commission president, or commissioner?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what we should do if because I just want something clear and defined, because I did talk to John about this, and John said there is nothing in there specifically that says what I should do as an employee if the auditor is committing fraud. Because in almost every one of these, the auditor is the first person you go to when there's fraud being committed, and then the city commission, chair and so on and so forth. But if I'm an employee and I suspect the auditor and the chair are committing fraud, obviously I'm not going to go to them. And I know that the last time I was made, they said, we'd go to this person or that person. Well, I'd rather see that written specifically, that if an employee, I'd like to have a paragraph in there specifically saying what to do if an employee sees that there's fraud being committed by a commissioner or by the auditor, because right now, if there's an employee doing it or a vendor or anything like that, it's being reported to the auditor. But I just don't see it in there, and I sent this exact same page to John, and John said he doesn't either. So, we can maybe clarify it from the legal side more than I can, but that was my biggest thing is that there's no specific direction. And I don't know if JR could chime in on that, if there's, just to make it so there's no gray area for somebody like me.
Yeah, just to eliminate that, I'd include a sentence or two just saying that if the fraud is involving the auditor or the commission president as that's drafted, that speak to someone else, maybe the other commission members.
Right, or attorney, or whatever.
Or the city attorney,
Right,
that could be the last
because
call.
if there's an issue with the city attorney, we're already talking to the auditor and the president.
Yeah.
So basically something that says, okay, if I suspect there's something going on, I know who to go talk to. Maybe it might be the city attorney, it might be another commissioner.
Yeah, I would just throw a line in there saying
Yeah,
that then. to that
and
effect.
that can be as simple as that. It's just, there's no gray area as far as who am I supposed to talk to?
And that's just in that one paragraph,
Yep.
reporting procedures.
Mhm.
So it could be contact the city auditor immediately, or the commission president, or the commissioners, or the attorney.
Yep, as applicable. I mean, yep.
Yep. Okay. Does that sound good for everybody? Okay. Any other changes? If not, do I have a motion to approve the we've never done anything on it, but it is in there.
Most of them have city-owned phones.
Most of the time when I've looked at it, I just make sure there's no extra charges on there. It's kind of hard to, I'd hate to say we only use 50 minutes for personal and 75 for,
Wow, yeah, it's tough to do.
I just look at extra charges is what I've looked at. If so, is there a motion to approve the changes for the employee handbook?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? And Ashley, you have all those changes?
Yes.
Do I have a
So you're
second?
just voting to make the changes, you're not going to make a final? 'Cause I'm not one to vote.
Correct.
Right.
Changes for final approval.
Because we can say we want this, but then when it gets translated, it might not be exactly what we wanted, so.
No, it's for these changes.
With the changes, I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Mike?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
And a yes for me. So Ashley, when you have
Send it out to all of you.
send it out to all of, and then send me a
The changes.
separate copy of this,
Okay.
and I will send it out to all the commissioners for the 2 evaluations that everybody will do.
Well, I like the changes on that one. It's different than, please.
Then
And
we'll
I'll help her get the wording for that, or, okay. 'Cause I want it to be specific, that if the auditor or the commissioner is found to be committing fraud, who they're supposed to go to.
Just a few questions when I go to work on this lease agreement with Mayville State.
We should have changed, I completely forgot about it, on the chain of command. We should have changed to, because right now, you have the personnel portfolio, and on the chain of command, we shouldn't have that. So I don't know if we have to change that, or if we find somebody else that takes that portfolio.
I think it's just if it's separate, that would be the chain of command. If it's not, then it is weighted.
Well, that's, everybody sees it, I guess. I don't necessarily see it that way, but,
Why should be, Paul?
huh?
Why should be?
What's that?
Why should be personal portfolio?
Well, just because the way the chain of command is, it shows that there's somebody else underneath him with the portfolio, so.
What difference does that make?
But it was only done that way because the one commissioner before, or one commission president before didn't want to deal with that portfolio. But before that, it had been that way for how long?
Okay.
Any board I ever served under, that's the way it was.
Okay.
And I believe, the way that we're doing the evaluations,
Mhm.
should clear that up.
Well, I was just looking at the chain of command side of it. so.
Right. Well, but also think of this chain of command only deals with this book. Because now if you're saying if there's an electrical issue, does that mean that it goes to the commission president first and then through? Because that's the way that it would be read here. Where it should be whoever holds the electrical portfolio and then up through. On the lease agreement, is there anything that you guys have concerns? Or anything that I should be aware of, that you'd like taken care of, changed? Okay. Increased. Is there anything from the audience tonight? Yes, Rick?
I'm just wondering, this is for Ashley, is that helping you now to work on that other stuff in the construction doors? To get, I know you're not gonna sell it in a couple of
Right.
weeks. Do you find it's beneficial to you?
We've had some short weeks, so it's been hard, but yeah, the days that I am able to shut it and I just focus on that, it has, so it's made a big difference. So,
That's good.
I got a question, at the last meeting, and she probably presented it to you people. She was supposed to have a bank statement from the bank reconciled with the checkbook. Did that happen? It was brought up at the last meeting. This is one thing we expected of you.
No, because we knew it wasn't going to get done in this meeting, but we should have it by the next meeting.
Okay.
Because she didn't get it till today, so she didn't have, we knew that, yes.
And who is the water commissioner?
Nicole. Any other questions? The one thing I forgot to bring up, I was approached by a couple individuals on Caledonia across from the high school. We now have another business that has opened up on that side. A few years ago, apparently the school had asked for that street to have no parking on the south side of Caledonia for that block. They're asking now that there is a business there, which is a daycare, to have that no parking taken out.
I'm going to ask the people that know everything here, Mike and Dave, why that was. Do you know? Do you know, was that before your time? I always wondered why they did that. Do you know, Jim? Was there a reason why the school wanted that closed, or?
I'm guessing because the residents voiced their opinion.
Oh, people parking in front of them?
The street there.
They were taking up all the parking.
All
Well, that makes sense.
It's been the residents that have come forward and said,
And right now, there's really only one residence there that
so that's
probably.
what I remember.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you open it up, then all you're gonna have is probably school kids parking there, so,
Did you? Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
you know.
So are you going to come?
So would you rather change it to limited parking instead of no parking?
Is that
30-minute parking or something
Is that
that,
all day, Levi? They want no parking all day?
No, there is no parking.
there is no parking, I think it's mostly during school hours.
Would that work for them, do you know, or?
Well, I don't know, but are you okay with it getting changed? That's my question. Are you okay with me working with them to get it changed? And Jim?
Can they do an hour's, parking for a half hour or an hour like the other daycare is?
I have no problem with
Now,
it,
the
period.
sign over here says
Right.
parking,
Yeah.
15-minute parking or
I
something.
have no problem with them parking there, period, but I just don't, if they want parking there because they're business, if they
There will be kids that would park
Right,
there,
right, I know there will be.
We all know that.
So, I just want to know if you're okay with me moving forward with it, if there'd be any issues.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to talk to them, so it seems like
Yeah, yeah. I think pursue it and see what the questions are, see what they're looking for, see what the neighbors, because you only got one there, really, don't you know? Just that one block, yeah?
It's just the one block.
Yeah.
And one resident has other parking on the other side, and the other resident, only lives there during the summer months mostly.
We have quite a bit of room in their driveway to park.
So I have a motion to adjourn then.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
You passed the budget, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the working employees get a 6% raise increase, correct?
Correct.
What happened with the commissioners?
That hasn't been approved or changed yet.
Okay. Is that what you looked at though?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we have to do a resolution for that. Which we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting to talk about.
Thank you.
Is there a second? Second. Moved by Dave, seconded by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.